All right, what's going on today, people? Got another video for you today, another knife review. We got a Benchmade black class here. As you can see, this is the mini adamas, 275 FE-2. I don't know what the FE means. I think it has something to do with the flat dark earth and the, I don't know, something like that. But anyways, this is the CPM crewwear version and the manual one. So you can see there is a black class knife. I had wanted one of these for a while, and I just ended up getting other knives in front of it, and I kind of regret that now, because this may be one of my favorite knives, especially Benchmade knives. Let's take a look at it here. It comes with your bag, basic paperwork. We don't know what that is. Alright, get this box out the way. And here it is. So I've switched the pocket clip side on it. It does come with a deep carry from factory, which is really nice. These bigger deep carries are normally pretty easy to get in your pocket as well. Here it is. You can see right there, CPM crewwear. So I was looking up CPM crewwear a little bit. I was kind of interested in it. And it's got, I'm pretty sure what I wrote is it's got better edge retention than like S30V. It's a really hard steel, but it's not the most corrosion resistant, so it can rust. But also it said the properties in it, it takes coatings really well, which makes sense because on this one and the gray and black one, they both have a coated blade. So I think Benchmade did really well with that. It handles the coating well, and there's your corrosion resistance. So I think that was a really good idea. I use a little bit harder steel, still a steel you can work with. And another thing about this steel, people say it sharpens really, really well, which is really what you want for a working knife, because the only use on here is tactical. So hard use, tactical use in the field, you know, stuff like that. If you're going to beat up on it, it's nice that you can resharpen it pretty easily. So I'll show you the other side here. I really, really like the look of this knife. I think it's a killer looking knife, and as you guys know, I've got bigger hands, and I can still get a full 4-finger grip in between the two stuck out parts there at the end, so it gives you a really, really solid feel. Another thing on this knife, the thumb studs here, as you can see, they're kind of like cones, and they've almost got like some kind of coating on them, it feels like. But they work really well. I actually really like that about them. They feel really good. I've been practicing my reverse flick here. There we go. I first saw somebody do that, and I was like, bro, he's just trying to show off. And I started trying it. It's really just to show off. Using your thumb's easier. It's you can get every time. You gotta kind of set up to do that, or of course you can just axis lock it. Now they do have automatic versions of these, which I think would be pretty cool. The only thing about them is you can just flick the blade like this, or for the automatics, you got to pull down on the axis lock here. So I don't know, if you wore gloves a lot, I would say that's better, because I've got some bigger like mechanics work gloves, the padded ones on the fingers, and I had a tree fall in my backyard last week, and I've been out there cutting it up. It was a big tree, it took a long time, but it had a lot of vines wrapped around it, so I had to have my knife with me. And what I used was this, well, I used two on different days. It was kind of to test them out too. I used the Presidio 2 one day, and then I used this Benchmade here the other. And with gloves on, obviously, you can't really spidey flick this one. but you can get the glove here and run it open. But with the thumb studs and thick gloves on, I have noticed it's kind of harder to fire the knife with your thumb when you got really thick gloves on. And the issue I had was the gloves, where they were so big, were catching the blade when I was trying to flick it. So then I just started using the axis lock, and that was actually the easiest way to open it with thick gloves on. But the automatic will be cool as well. So this one, I'm going to talk about a little issue it kind of has. Side-to-side blade play, pretty much none, and I do adjust all my pivots. But this had some little front-to-back blade play. Let's see if you can see it here. You can kind of hear it. But the actual movement itself is really minuscule. And I was honestly, you can kind of see it there, I was honestly thinking about sending it back over that. Then I checked my other Benchmades, and one other one I had kind of had that little bit of play too, and that was one of the most expensive knives I have, the Mini Freak. It's got that just a little bit. I was like, damn, maybe I can send it back, have them send me another one, maybe send it to Benchmade. And then I read online that people have this issue it's quite common. They say they'll send it to Benchmade, they'll replace the blade, whatever, replace some screws, a pivot, they send it back and it's nothing changed. I was like, man, I could send it back. I got it from Knife Ship Free. They were probably exchanged it with me for another one. But what I did is I completely disassembled the knife, and right there where the pivot locks on, let me get a flashlight. Right there where the pivot connects, I sanded off the coating that was there, because on like half of the side of this it was worn off and the other half still had the coating. So I just took some sandpaper and sanded it off flat, and actually seemed to help a little bit. But the play is just, I mean, it's not moving a millimeter, you know what I mean? So it's really, I feel like it was more just my OCD over anything. So I just tightened the pivot a little bit more than I normally do. It still falls shut, just kind of slow, and it feels good. What I did is I took it out and used it some, and I absolutely couldn't tell while I was using it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it. I think it'll be all right. Maybe it'll break in a little bit too, which I think it has some. So other than that, really happy with this knife. Now let's do a sharpness test real quick. A piece of regular computer paper here. Okay, that's pretty good. This is a pretty thick blade. It's got a pretty thick grind profile on it. It's not the sharpest one I've got, but pretty sharp. So, I did get, I'll show you guys this real quick. I got the Work Sharp Precision Adjust Sharpener, and all I can say is, if you were thinking about getting this, go ahead and get it. I've got knife stones. I got the Workshop belt sander one. I've got strops. And I just could not, I sat there and stoned my knives for 2 hours. Could not get them that sharp. But let me show you real quick. Sorry, I'm kind of getting off the point here, but I'm going to show you guys this real quick, because I was highly impressed. This knife, it's just a cheap Kershaw, like $15, $20 knife, would not cut anything. It would rip through paper, would absolutely not cut it. You can see it is pretty much a polished edge, but just where I wasn't as consistent as I could be. It's like a mirror polish, but there's some spots on it. But look at this. This knife was incredibly dull. And now I think it's one of the sharpest knives I have to be able to, I mean, you can pretty much just push this through paper. Watch. I mean, it literally just push through. I mean, it's insanely sharp. Watch this. I mean, it's wild. I'm not even trying that hard. I mean, it's crazy how sharp it got this knife. And this is just a cheap Kershaw. It's 133 QD SW patented. I don't even know if that's the blade. I don't even have blade still other than that. Made in China. I mean, yeah, you saw. I mean, this is the sharpest knife I have after sharpening it like that. And then there's this one. This was the second one I did. See, this one's not as good, but see how sharp it is here. I mean, there's just see, this hangs up a little bit and trying to go across. I mean, you see how insanely sharp that gets these knives, and it does take 30 to 45 minutes depending on how far you actually go with it. But I swear, guys, for $60, I've tried a lot of things, could never get my knives as sharp as I wanted, and with that thing, it's not a problem anymore, which makes me actually use my knives now, because I know if I dull them up, if I nick the blade, anything, I can get them razor sharp again. So it gives you a lot of confidence. It's really easy to use. Like I said, it's a little time consuming, but other than that, real quick, we'll do some comparisons and end this video out. There's the Mini Freak. You can see there. Similar in size, actually. We'll do a pair 3. We'll do a Mini Crooked River. Pair 3. There we go. So here's the Spyderco pair 3. Fairly close. About a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to do a Mini Crooked River here with all the carbon fiber. And it is slightly smaller than the Mini Crooked River. Maybe about a 1/4 inch. So overall, if you're on the edge about this knife, just go for it. It's really solid feeling knife. It's thick. It just feels so good in your hand. I really like it. I love this colorway too. It's the only OD green flat dark earth knife I have. The rest are just carbon fiber black pretty much. Well, I take that back. This one's FDE, but it's a cheap knife. I don't really keep it with my good stuff, but it's so sharp now, like shoot. And the thing about this is, a $15 knife, I don't care to use this on anything, and I can get it back to being this sharp again. So yeah, overall, this video's ran a little long here. Sorry I've been long-winded, but I'm just so excited about that sharpener. I think I'm gonna do a whole video on that thing, kind of show how to use it a little bit. But yeah, this has been the Mini Adamas CPM Crewwear. Great knife, solid, girthy, not a super slicey knife, but I could see it being a good tactical workhorse, or a good EDC knife. It's not too big. It's a little thick to keep in basketball shorts. Yeah, overall, really nice knife. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.